So, last time, I started late, but I did have Gacha saved up, and I ended the stream on this. And for what is the fourth or fifth consecutive Gacha pull, I received exactly Bupkiss, which, is fair, that is the nature of the game. So, oh, also, I sold some of the extra things I've gotten, so I have almost 3 million gold. I don't think I have anything to spend it on now. It's just, I'm going to be sitting on it. Rex is like a Scrooge McDuck now. I think there's a whole quest where I need to look into someone who misappropriated funds from me. I'm like, who cares? Rex could just drop a million on Auntie Corin now, and they could live like kings, the orphans, but regardless. I have spent the time. It was just a few hours. I was doing other things, mostly chatting with friends. I killed a unique monster, Vampire Bride Marion, level 65 one, till I got 99 rare core crystals, 99 common core crystals, and just 42 legendary core crystals. And we're gonna pull, and pull, and pull, and hope I get at least one of the 3 remaining rare blades. And that's all tonight's going to be. So I have a little over an hour. People can suffer with me while we do this. I'm going to be lazy here and pull on just Rex. I've already done the stuff to give him more luck. Why not? Let's start with the common ones. Let's hope. 240 pulls. I'm hoping, even with just the commons and the rares, I might get one of the 3. However, I've also hoped I would get one of these 3 the last 4 or 5 times I've done this. So, maybe I'm just going to hang out here for an hour, So, fun fact when it comes to this. When you have full mental stats like Rex now has, his brain is full of bravery, truth, compassion, and justice. Apparently what happens is the game will take these 4, it will randomly generate one of the 4 to use, and then it applies that modifier. So in point of fact, having grinded out these mental stats on these characters is a bad thing to do. Big galaxy brain move from me. I know I need at least a justice thing. These are all commons anyways. We could just do it this way. Why not? Work through them. Nope. Oh, it's gonna get annoying. So, I guess I should discuss something while we're endlessly going through here. Just, like, look at all these nice generic blades that I'm going to melt down into slag to keep doing this. So, it's Wednesday evening. We had Portobello earlier. That was a lot of fun. Always enjoy that. I enjoy all the games I'm in, really. I mean, why would I play them if I don't? But there's certain things. There's a liberating, chaotic freedom to being Doman. And of course, while Doman is a penguin character, and I've had Doman already be a pretend parrot too. I never even named that disguise. I think because that's one meant to be with Dvorak and we didn't name it with Dvorak either. Maybe that's a combo we'll do later. Something I'll have to get around to. But instead, I had Echo make me a nice turkey costume, which was fun. A vigilante. I'm talking to the Beastmaster crew. I don't know what it is. Something about embracing the chaotic, Luffy-inspired One Piece gremlin energy of Doman just kind of makes me do stuff. Although, in general, too, sometimes there are advantages when you're playing characters to either feeling restrained to being not restrained. There are things that I accomplished on Alceus, Kai, a couple others early on, that I don't think I could do anymore because there was an awkwardness to my role playing back then. I mean, if I made a character with a new group, where I only maybe knew one or two people, if that, that might kind of relimit me a little bit. So, you know, maybe I get a little bit then. But as it goes now, I mean, playing in these things, as much as it's storytelling, creating a story, messing around with character, even challenging myself, it's also just hanging out with friends and doing stuff. You know? So there's a degree to which, like, there's elements of me that will always bleed through into the characters that I don't actively catch anymore. But for whatever reason, although I don't think there's a ton of Doman in me, but I just don't have a filter with him, really. I mean, I have a little bit of a filter. There are definitely times I'll stop and be like, do I really want to do this? There's some moral boundaries of decency. You can see that a few times with Tomas's son, Felix. Like, I wouldn't really try to endanger him too much. And of course, obviously, I can push that to a degree, because I'm confident there are many places where, like, Katie's a wonderful DM. How far will she let things go? You know, it's one of those things that you kind of figure out with as a player versus DM. Journeys you will go on. How far will you go? Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But I think there's just a chaotic, dumb energy that I can really exploit with him that I appreciate. So yeah, got to pretend to be I'm a penguin in a turkey fat suit, effectively, piling around, making it like a Batman-type vigilante almost. Dumb. I think I've done dumber things, although that's pretty up there. But it serves a purpose. Like, as dumb as that is, and as much as it's Doman just indulging himself, he does have a goal with that, you know? Like, what is he setting up for that? Well, I mean, he's setting up the fact that, like, he's establishing that there's this figure, she's now attached to a pirate crew, that's trying to, like, help stop and do justice things in town. So if we ever have to break into the Imperials, that might seem weird, right? Like, what's justice there? But, like, let's be real. If it's guards, Imperials, the Bavralians, they're like cops. And fundamentally, the cops aren't good guys. We all know this, you know. It's one of those things that if I'm breaking in there, you can trust your street-level vigilante. He's probably in the right anyways, and he's trying to dig up something. Which is why I thought it'd be good if Doman had that backstory there, because then he could be a distraction, too. Because, you know, play him a little dumb and stuff. But that's one of the only things, like, he's got some things he can do, but he doesn't get magical utility, he doesn't get things like that. That's the best he can do. Truth booster. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. Imagine Doman having a backstory. Oh yeah. The ongoing story of... I don't know if I've ever, like, comprehensively said that. I mean, we've talked about it enough in game, it must be on a stream. The fact that, like, when we came up with that, I was having a hard time, what do I want to do? And I'm like, well, I like penguins, I love penguins. Katie really loves penguins, she loved them first. She kind of helped me develop my love for them. Why don't I just play a penguin character? Well, how do I get there? I'll let Katie figure that out. But, I guess... And then here's the genius me making trouble for myself later. Katie, you'll do all that, but I'll need like a year, right? Give me a year. I'll maybe do a little backstory thing in this time. I'll figure out just like, you know, how he's a sailor, how he has all these things. Seems innocent enough. I haven't touched this stuff. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say I've barely thought about it. I've thought about it quite a bit. I just haven't committed most of it to paper in any form. I say paper, digital paper. And like, so what's the problem? Like, just do the backstory. And it's one of those things where like, and it's funny because Jed had a backstory, right? When Abby made it for Sam so long ago, but then she wanted to do more and more and detail it and add wrinkles to it and everything. And it's just, there's a point when you realize with a character, you're making them that like, you want to do them justice to what they've become. And this is part of the problem, like, I know the shape of Doman's backstory, how I wanted to come into being. I wanted to be a One Piece backstory. I wanted to be a, I guess, hopeful tragedy is the simplest way to put it. No, I don't even want to say a tragedy, because One Piece backstories aren't tragedies. They have a tragic element to them. They have like a defining sad moment. But it's always something that's usually like optimistically something that characters are passing on. I mean, some of the best writing Oda does in general, right? And a lot of times they help tie into like, they have this sad moment, but they also have the moment that makes the character, and ideally they tie into like the big emotional triumphant moment of it. Like, Drum Island is a great little arc, and people love Chopper's backstory, but part of what sells Chopper's backstory, even though people probably remember out of that, but it's the fact that like you have the big sweeping moment of Hero Luke like telling Chopper not to feel bad, that it was always going to happen anyways, because of course in that backstory Chopper's effectively killing him because he tried to cure him and medicine's heard, but it doesn't matter because he was going to die anyways. But he has the confrontation with Wapol, and he tells you like what's important to him. And then you cut from that back to the fact that like Chopper always wanted to go to sea, even though Kureha didn't really want to let him. And Hero Luke was like inspiring, but couldn't really bring that together for him, and then he got lost. And that's tied into, he had his pirate flag. He wanted to bring cherry blossoms to a frozen land that wouldn't get to see them. And it works because when it ends up back to that, Luffy kind of sacrificing his health, which, you know, it's not a big deal. Like, Luffy wasn't going to be in serious danger from that. Like, that's, you know, one of the things that Oda does better than some of his contemporaries is he knows there are times when, realistically, you make it seem like your hero is in immense danger. And there's other times when, like, it's a fight back and forth. Sometimes they'll be in a threat. But really, sometimes they're going to have, like, you know, it's just a fight. It's like in D&D, right? Not every encounter needs to be deadly, but you have a fair amount of them. But it's that big moment where, like, you see Luffy's protecting Hero Luke's flag. He's holding it safe from the random shot Wapol was trying to do because he's a dick. Now, admittedly, I need to put a caveat here. You may think, well, I'm saying this, that I'm like, obviously, I'll be ready to do this backstory when Doman has his bigger. No. What I mean is, I want Doman's backstory to have that, like, heartbreaking moment, though. One that's still hopeful, but that's sad. That's a character probably sacrificing. From pulling with compassion boosters? Oh, is that the one I don't need? So I have no more lightning or earth blades left? Okay. Can I save you from pulling with compassion boosters? The problem is, I think I kind of need to for Morag. But it's a good point because it doesn't make a difference. Oh hey, it finally happened. Adnane. He's a Windblade. What? Who is this? He looks What is it about him that makes me think of something? He's... Anyways, hey, I've already pulled one of them. It's a success. Already. Oh my god. That's fantastic. Her? Oh, is it a her? Her, him, that's fine. Look, Adnian's in that zone. It's whatever. Adnian. But no, that's right. It's another healer too, which is funny. Okay. Alright, well, Rex has Adnian now. Excellent. And hey, the truth one actually mattered to that, because she's a wind blade, so wind ice. So I have no lightning electric. Oh right, and the rest are just justice, aren't they? Because you said the other was... Or is that one the DLC one? No, that was the DLC one is Dirk. That's right. So I don't know what the other one is. That's fine. And bravery. Okay. I guess I could have held off on it. Let me use up the rest of the truth one anyways. Okay, so that... Sorry, that made me completely lose. What was I? Also, note. I've pulled how many rares lately? Freaking on a common core. Fuck you, Gacha. Fuck you with a thorny dick. No... God damn it. Okay. Anyways. Well, I'm still pulling, aren't I? I guess we'll start using Justice. It won't happen, but... I think we'll get these back. Yeah, go ahead. I just didn't want you to waste them on legendaries. That's fair. But yeah, I was actually mostly at the end of the thought, right? Like, it's just at this point, I've gotten so in my head that I really want to capture that essence with Doman's backstory. And, like, the fact of the matter is, like, sometimes I do okay with my writing. I have moments, I'm sure. And also, if you're reading something a friend's written, maybe become more emotionally invested. But I'm not gonna hit, like, O to tier for especially, like, those things. Like, why am I even trying to think that way? Like, it's not, like, something you, like... It's not a logical thing, right? Like, I want to do that because emotions are sometimes dumb and we want things that are unreasonable. But, like, come on. I want to have this thing that's going to be, like, Chopper level or even Robin, because Robin's my favorite one. I've probably mentioned this before. I just love, like... Because One Piece, it's true. It is a One Piece game. It's in my head and heart at the time. But yeah, but yeah, to just hope for that, it's foolish, and it's a mental barrier. It makes me not want to actually work on it. Because the fact of the matter is, when I have thoughts about it, I've thought about these things. I know most of the, like, if I actually was not lazy, I could probably sit down and, like, bash out, like, a character list. I'm glad that I made it One Piece without making it One Piece. Yeah, because, I mean, obviously One Piece matters a lot to me, and you like it too. And obviously Arya knows a lot of it. People know other things about it. But it lets other people, like... I don't think... As much as it's a One Piece game for me, I don't think it at any level feels like people suffer if they're not really aware or have done much One Piece stuff. It more than enough feels beyond that. It just gives me an extra wrinkle to play in. Wow, I'm just kind of happy I finally pulled, like, one of the things I kind of regret is the fact that I have not been checking with these how many it was. Because I want to say it was like, it had to at least be over 200, and I'm thinking maybe 300 between the last one I pulled and Adnine there. It was a lot. And of course, it's a freaking common blade that makes the difference. Alright, cool. So I just had... I had room for 64? Okay. This is the one problem where I almost wish I did have it in me to get rid of more of these, but no. So we'll just melt these all down. Highest trust, lowest trust. Lowest trust will do it. Except these two. If I accidentally... I mean, it'd really suck if it was Harold, but if it was like... I didn't even notice Adenine had... She had the missing, like... I mean, it is the section of the torso where you would find that stuff, but it's a lot of it, actually. It looks very empty. The weird book gauntlets are a thing. Okay, anyways, let's start deleting these. There's no 4 stars, right? Yeah, they all start at 3.
I see.
But yeah. So, have fun with the One Piece game. That's not a One Piece game. I don't really think of it as a One Piece game. It's still Portobello. It's just definitely that affects my decision making and how I push. And in general, too, I have to admit, I've reached the point where very clearly it's important to my characters that I have a lot of comedic elements to be with them. Like, so Sam's working on setting up Moonstable Coast eventually. I don't know. I guess maybe we'll start that sometime early in 2023. I don't know if she'd really want to try to push to do it this year. But then if she did, who knows? She probably wants to make sure she has her Friday game ironed out and really confident in that first. I'm not in a rush. But the character I make for that, I mean, I call him Owl Grandpa, which enough is already like, I'm going to have that old energy. But when I made his backstory, it's definitely like, there's a couple silly elements in it. The fact that he's had multiple ex-wives. But it's actually one of the most serious backstories I've done in quite a while. I guess if I was looking at Dragonmore for Sunday, Meslos' backstory is actually pretty serious too. But the character itself, I always knew he was going to be kind of a shit. No, Al Grandpa does not have charisma, but he had charisma. No, the big thing, I can go into this a little bit. I mean, you might have read it. Bubbles hasn't been exposed to it, but these aren't major spoilers. The big thing with him, though, is he used to be strength charisma. He was a paladin. A substantially decent level one. More in the sense of... I kind of would... Bastion had this a little bit, but it's more in, like, he was Oath of Glory. Like, the kind of, like, the physical athlete one, that kind of one. But he gets fucked up in his backstory, so he has to kind of learn a different way at the end of his life. Which, it's kind of weird, because even as I say that, I think about the fact that, like, my other old man character just a couple years ago, well, a year ago, but we made him a couple years ago, was Cross, and he was still a paladin. And they're going to have some similar energy, but, and I'm sure, like, most of the comedy that will come of Al Grandpa will be on a similar wavelength. I mean, Cross was peak mood. I miss Cross. I still in my heart feel like Darkhold is dead and be a lot of work too. But if also like suddenly Diana's like, hey guys, let's do Darkhold, and everyone was jumping in, I'd be like, hell yeah. Like, I could only imagine we start that, and the first time we have to introduce it, and I'm like, well, hey there, name's Cross Ruark. Ah, it would just bring me right back with Volumtur. But there was a lot of peak unmood that game hit. Also, Katie, why are you still up? I mean, I guess I'm doing Gacha, which you feel the allure of, but don't you stay up too late. You have a... I mean, I guess you said 8 o'clock, so you're only cutting your time into a little bit. Maybe you'll take a nap, but... No, but you need to wake up early for your mom, young lady. Okay, no. Um, but yeah, every now and then I'm like, because I don't think it's great, but any kind of fake southern voice is one of the few ones I feel reasonably halfway decent in, as accents go. I think because like there's a core of it that comes up a little bit. It's just I found it easy to do something kind of southern, and that's more like Cross was more. Well, Cross was easier to. I wasn't even a great Cross, but name's Cross Ruark. Like that was almost my vocal tick with him. Yeah, it's true. If there's anything you can be like consistent at, that definitely helps. Oh, I didn't want to. Whoops. We didn't stream this, so you missed it. But I cannot do any kind of like French adjacent European accent. But when we were doing, and it was like a two-shot actually in the Pokemon Tabletop United for the Sunday thing that didn't happen. But I had my rich character with the Hone Edge, Richie, and those other things, all that. But I was doing a really bad French accent with it, and I couldn't do it at all. It was all over the place. I had a lot of fun with that, though. I wouldn't mind if that ever got off the ground again, even though I've been kind of happy. Oh, so what about where you were going when you said French accent? I mean, you've heard my really bad French accent occasionally in a couple things. We've had the chance to. There was a couple times I was really failing to do it in aviary attorney. I really liked Cocorico on that. Mostly because that was an egg to dip into the southern again. What I kind of wish I could do, wish I could do more of a Nowlands, because it's a little southern, but with that little bit of French to it. I can't do it. I think it's like the king, the incompetent king they have, but and you really don't need to. I don't know if that's worth it, but that was a fun little like 5-stream game to indulge in. Even if it was a really weird one to do. One of the rare times. I should go through more of my Steam list and pick and go through stuff like that. I really should. Also, I'm taking too long doing this. I guess because I'm getting into the chatting with it, I might not be able to finish. Don't set. That's wasting time. Come on, Rex. Admittedly, it'd be faster if I wasn't trying to do the comments before the rares. Even though it doesn't make a difference. Accents be consistent or fully committed. Yeah, that's the thing. And yeah, I did get one at least. Consistent makes it feel better, but if you're fully committed to it... Because the thing is... The accent I was... that's not even how it was. But I was so very... I can't do it because I'm not in the mood to do it. But I was just... Like, it was awful. And there were multiple times I dropped it. But I was like, I'm doing an awful French accent with this rich kid. And it was great. But I actually really liked... I liked the core of Richie's character. DM life. That's true. I mean, the thing about DM is you have to do so many voices. Like, even Matt Mercer, an amazing DM and a great voice actor, there are just times in Critical Role and you'll see them make fun of him gently for it because one person can only have so many voices, you know? And that's like a top tier person being able to do that, so what can we basic mortals hope to accomplish? Adnian. But hey, There's a satisfaction still doing this, having accomplished one though. Ah, but yeah, I liked, like, I wish I remembered what it was really dumb. Like, was it like, I don't think I did Richie Rich, because that's actually one, but because it was Richie something. And the idea was Hone Edge, you know, Galler, like the French one, which is why I was doing the bad accent. Um, I don't think I'm gonna get back all these either if I do that, but that's fine. But the idea was, because it's Pokemon Tabletop United, right? So I'm dodge something. So he had like a rich family, landed, all that stuff, and he had a heraldic Aegislash that was in the family, and it got stolen. So he was gonna be this little rich kid. Um, was he? I can't remember right now if he was like. I think what it was he had like a really, like, an older brother he looked up to, was really competent, did all these things, who was injured at the same time that the heraldic Aegislash of the family was taken. So even though he was always kind of the shitty second son who couldn't keep up, he kind of tried to like train up so he could take this Hone Edge that he met even when he was even younger. His first Pokemon, which, you know, because who wants to have a boring regular first Pokemon, right? If you're doing a Pokemon tabletop like that, you want to do something wacky or interesting. And he just was going to go out and he was going to fight with the Hone Edge, right? Because Pokemon Tabletop United lets your trainer fight along with that. Like, you can learn Pokemon moves, you can do all kinds of stuff. It's a really deep system. Probably too deep, honestly. It's not like an easy one to get into, but it's cool. But, so I'm getting to this a little bit. So, he has, and like they'll have this setup, and it was cool because he made it look like the old school games. Well, not old school, but before they went 3D, like Soul Silver, what have you. Just that was a basic thing. Like, we're going to this little town, investigate, like meet the crew, get together, have your little party. But I just like the idea that like he had like the accoutrement of a rich lifestyle. He had those aspects to him, but I had this core of like just didn't really believe in himself, etc. And you grow like that. It's a basic enough story, but sometimes that's all you need, and it felt like it fit for Pokemon. I liked it. If we ended up doing something like that, I'd probably reformat him in some case. That's one of those ones I had to figure out, because it is a lot to get into that. It has a lot of details to it. Although, a lot of the math and weirdness that went into that was extrapolated into a macro set, which is always nice. One of the advantages of working in map tools is you can actually, like, if you have a DM who cares enough to kind of streamline that thing, they can really dig into it. It's nice, you know. There's a bunch like that. Like, I know, goodness knows, it's pretty common. People, like, they have a character, and they're like, I have this character, and I'm just waiting for a game to make them. And there are times I don't, like, most of the time I've actually been lucky enough, if I make a character, it's make a character to use them. But still, ooh, there's another force there. I do get it. There's some others like that. Like, you make one, and I've used it once or twice. I'm like, I'd like to give him a second life. Like, in Rainhold, in a couple of those sessions, like where Dill would run it or something, or one of them might have been when Donnie did too. But I remember that one of them was definitely Dill at the helm as DM, because it had Donnie as Felinra. And I remember I made Adnil, which is like, in Drow, it's like Berserker or something. It's really dumb. But like a 7-year-old young, like 16 years old, which for an elf is like the babiest of baby. And I just really like, I like the idea of like sociopathically strong, almost berserker, but he's like also just a good kid because he would never fit in for that reason. And I kind of like to remake him, but I don't think it'd work in 5e because you just can't be really strong without magic in that game because of the way they do stats and stuff. It'd work in a couple other things too, I'm sure. Let's. You know what? I can pull without using boosters. Bad Russian accent. Kitty was in that. I don't think your accent was that bad. I do know that it was really frustrating you because you would keep sliding to match Donnie. Like your vocal mimicry would just keep rearing its head. And you'd be like, no, I don't want to be doing that. I thought it was fine though. Donnie's very good with voices, he really is. Like, if I had to steal one of his skills to use without having earned it, as much as I do like his amazing art skills and everything, it might be the vocal skills. Like, man, do you remember Darkhold? When we added the Kenku? Not as a party member, but as an NPC. Like, Kenku as a race, I feel like, are too much for like 95% of people who roleplay. But like, if you have someone like a Matt Mercer or a Donnie, it's frightening to see what they can bring with them. Although Kenku are kind of fun. Remember when we were doing Tomb of Annihilation, the one-shot, where we were doing characters to die in there? I had Conan the Kenku Barbarian, where the whole idea was most of his lines and vocal tics were from a puppet play of Conan the Barbarian. Because I do dumb things all the time. Okay. Unfortunately, one, I can't really do an Arnold, and two, I hadn't actually watched Conan recently, so I couldn't actually live up to that. I think that was a better joke than I could really deliver on. Oh, this is the other 4-star, and the rest are 3 stars. Cool. Like, the fact of the matter is, I've probably already gotten my 1 pull, and the rest of this is just me building up karma for next time. Yes, I know, statistics, gambler's fallacy, it doesn't work that way. It's always the same chance each time you do it. But you know. But I have them anyways, I might as well should keep pulling. I guess, if I'm being optimistic, I am still hoping to get 1 more. Like, I don't think I'm going to get the other 2, because that would be ridiculous. That'd be great. Don't get me wrong. I would love that. It's not going to happen. But I still feel like my Trader's Heart has a hope that I'll get 1 more. I'll get Adney, and I'll get who the other one is, and then it'll be just Cosmos. And then if I ever do like either these or if I'm just doing other things, it'll just be like just Gacha streams. Will I get Cosmos this time? Which is funny because I don't even have an attachment to Cosmos as a character. It's just, you know, it's another one to tick off having. I wish I didn't have to get rid of all this space. And that instead I could just choose when I'm pulling to have a blade and then immediately release it into slurry. Just instead of actually working through it, just let me pull them over the meat grinder, where if it's not what I want, I just let go and it tumbles in. Like, it's not just that like the rates could be better, but also like the experience of doing these pulls were not great. But oh well. But you know, I feel like I've been discussing a good bit. You love their remastered Xenosaga, but it'll never happen. Yeah, that's one of those ones you hear that for a good bit. I can understand it. Okay. I should pull some of these on Morag. It doesn't matter at the moment. Hey, that's cool. What I want to talk about now, for the second half of this, basically. Talking about that, talking about this. It's funny, because I remember I would, in a couple of the, like, I think Elden Ring, or was it Dark Souls 2? I'd do things where I was almost basically just grinding. So it's like, oh, I'm doing this thing, let me discuss whatever. And part of this is just me talking about stuff that we were talking about earlier, because once we wrapped up Port about it, you know, a lot of times you're still excited about a game, and you're hanging out with your friends, so you keep talking about stuff, shooting the shit, you know, it's just fun. Let's see. We did that big thing for Mecha, which was kind of fun. You know, obviously there was more of us there, and he's more established than I am, but just the fact that like 10 years ago, he did the 4A1 shots, which also just coincided with like, that was when Shadowlands had been around for a while. That was how I met a lot of you people, and then obviously like the first Star Wars game and Zool and all that stuff, getting to hang out with that. And of course, a few years later, folding in Lilith, Bubbles, a couple others here and there. Just good times. But that was nice. It kind of reminds me of the fact that, like, I kind of wish I have done more DMing at this point than I have. Also, I can't believe I pulled a 1-star on that rare. Like, I know it's only 1.5 times enough, but come on, game. A 1-star using a rare? Fuck off. That's the thing, though. I can't just do it for DMing. Like, I don't know how. Like, we joke about this thing, but there's a fair amount of differences between us. And one of them is the fact that, like, I just suck at improv when it comes to DMing. My brain doesn't want to do it. It's probably part of why one of my responses to having to improv at any level is to waste time, which is probably why the fact, like, I am almost physically incapable of running a 1-shot. It'll become a 2-shot, it'll become a 3-shot. Ugh. But yeah, like, it's not like, there's nothing wrong with being mostly a player versus a DM. Like, I know there's this sense too, like, obviously some people prefer being DM, but like, the ideal that we know is that, like, ideally you'd rather be a player more often than that, like, sometimes people just get stuck as DM. And sometimes that is the case, you know. And honestly, sometimes you have something like that. How many of us have run a 1-shot that remained a 1-shot? This is fair, Bubbles. This is fair. I think some people have. Definitely. And I know, admittedly, like, I'm saying this, we did Lancer, and that ended up being a 3-shot, and arguably there's even more Blackjack could have done, but a couple people just weren't feeling it much anymore, and that one, Lancer's a little bit like 4E, where it has a fair amount of moving parts. You can throw your hat in and say you did. Yeah? I wouldn't mind going back to Call of Cthulhu, but that's as much because I didn't really get to mess around with it. I was gonna be a newsie. There's others, though, that have. All the DMs have at least had one successful 1-shot that was a 1-shot, but... I mean, also, like, you do one-shots to test out a system, but, like, you don't really dig into the system when you do a one-shot. You be down for some more Cthulhu shenanigans? I need to learn how to properly DM, though. I think you did a good job with it, but admittedly, if you're dealing with different rules in something, there's that level of, like, am I doing this right? And, you know, we all have that traitorous mind thing where, like, hell, you can imposter syndrome yourself sometimes with whole, like, dumb recursive mental loops about it. And the fact is, like, everyone's just happy to be there and play. Sometimes it could be better, but most times it could be way worse. You two attach your characters play on that as predicate and characters slowly going insane in a long-term campaign. That's fair. There's something to be said for, like, looking at, like, what is the fundamental nature that the game goes towards. Gesture said Zool. No, no one went insane in Zool. Some of us might have been secretly insane at the start of Zool, you just didn't know it. It's kind of funny that in a lot of ways, the least evergreen of my Zool characters was the first one I did. Not that I'd be opposed to, like, I'll say it's the sequel, bring him back in some, but I almost feel like the way we developed him near the end and the things that his life would go on, he'd make way more sense to be more an NPC, handing out quests, or just something people would go to. Moon Blossom, though, could always just be a character I play again, and same with Kai. I'm not sure I want to do that to Kai, admittedly, but I do like her a lot. I feel a little bad that she was one of the few ones to walk out of the Zool finale that feels bad. But that was really good learning about Crash at the same time. Who even brings back old characters? I mean, Felix retired, then Amelia retired, and Reza's retired. I mean, I think I'll say it's an Amelia retired more in the sense that there's other things they're doing. I could definitely see them both adventuring in the sense of, like, we need to get something. No, bringing back Brugar was pretty great, though. And, I mean, you say that, Bubbles. Do you have more than Brugar? Because otherwise, I'm actually over you for that. In the sense that I've done that twice now, because I did Kai. Although, I guess maybe you could consider Kai cheating. And I did that with Cad. Although I guess, you know, I'm saying that, I immediately want to back down, because both of those are kind of cheaty scenarios, aren't they? Because one of those was for the same campaign, except a sequel, kind of. And then Kai, it was not remaking her in that sense, but it was in the same world. I made Mademoiselle 4 times. But most of those weren't designed to go for like 10 more. Do more than once, that's a good question. Oh wait, was it Crash? Was that one of the... See, now I'm probably just exposing myself. Oh well, what can I say? It's late, the gacha's hurting. I can't say the gacha's hurting me, actually. I got adenine fairly early on. This is all just gravy and hanging out and talking. Oh, so many Mademoiselles. Crash was a new character. Getting more Earth ones now, which is nice. Actually, I say it's nice, it doesn't make a difference really. I might be able to... I had more space on this than I thought. I think, though, if I keep those last few 4-stars... Well, no, maybe. Maybe I'm going to be able to do this in 4 sets of pulls. There must be another really obvious one I'm not remembering then. But it is late. I've been doing much gacha. It's actually not that late. And I don't think it's really that much gacha. Technically, you reskin Ruger for a spin-off game on the LK stream. Oh. I mean, I feel like intent does matter to a degree. Okay, good. We did that. So let's melt down some more blades. Okay, good. Yeah, I will admit, there are also times I've reused for like lesser things, but I'm not counting those quite as much. Like Kai was a big one established I've reused. Eva's technically at least another Avenger I played in a 3-shot. Yeah, because like, see, stuff like that I'm not fully counting, because like, Geelus is one of those technically, because I've made that Predator Druid before. And I say that, I've almost not even made that, because that's the race cur druid. That's like a, you do speed stuff, you go like to be really fast, you know. But I mean, it's the same thing though, it's still reusing it. I don't know why I'm trying to be pedantic about it, you know? And there's times like you look back and you're like, did I just end up reusing a character not even intentionally? Just kind of like where my brain was at the time. I find a lot of that, like, I guess some of it is just being dumb, layers of imposter syndrome, etc. But when you make a character and then you sit down and like a year or 2 later or something, you're reading through something or re-experiencing some piece of media, and you're like, wait a second, did I just actually make this character I like and I'm seeing right now? And like, on some level, but just taking the build up because I've reused that several times. That is true. That was your mech build for Aryan's 4E5E one-shot, wasn't it? Jake was originally a Pathfinder character. I never got to play it as much as I wanted. Yeah, I remember you would talk about that, because that Pathfinder game had a lot of power creep and stuff. Jarek was fun and Waterdeep. Even if he was sometimes frustratingly not touched by karma, but you know, that became his own little meme. Ah. Also, hey Dill. Did I actually say hey Bubs at the start of this too? Did I even say hey Katie? Or did I just launch into my Gacha spiel? Whatever. That was a while ago. Okay. Bond Blade. How much do I have remaining? 9 and 42 legendaries? 51. Okay. So, Morag actually needs to do some pulls. Yeah, you were here pre-stream. That's fair. Had structural issues, use Jack to undercut rather than play the character. And then Bill mentioning the judging. Yeah, X beforehand, that's true. Alright, bravery boosters. I'll still do the majority on Rex, but I need to do some on Morag because I do want to do just enough to get her a full brain. We didn't... We're making the all your characters figure out. I also noticed I've played 3 versions of Buster. Those are all one-shots. I could see that. Especially if you're doing a one-shot, it helps to go to like an old character you've made to give you like... Because you've done that framework before. Sometimes you just want to have fun with them again. I've never been in the position of doing it, but it is almost inspiring sometimes, the fact that Scott has finally gotten to play Chimes. I know I've not really seen that game much at all, but like that's like one of the only personal experiences I've had with a person where they've had a character they've really wanted to do and just not a good chance to use them. It's nice to see him finally realize that on some level. The really beloved character. Legendary cores. If you're wondering why I didn't grind like 99 legendary cores as well, it's because I'd already grinded freaking I don't want to say this, 99 of the other two, and it's just they just don't drop that often. And I was losing it. I was like, no, I'm done. I can only do so much. And as we've seen, it doesn't really make a huge difference because it's just a 3 times multiplier versus a 1.5 versus a 1. But the numbers I'm going for here are so small that it's more helpful just to do a bunch. Get one right. Yeah, we did get adenine, which I'm happy we did. It would be nice to get the second of the 3, but again, I'm not expecting that. I need to get a few more, and you know what? We can go on to Rex. Good talk. Okay, so let's a little bit more time. I was worried I wasn't going to make it in time, but I think I just misjudged back then. Oh sure, you're a lightning one I randomly pulled. Would have rather done that on Morag. Thanks a lot, game. Oh yeah, this was all kind of off, like reusing characters, other ones I would use. I mentioned Adnal. Cintiq is a weird one for me, because I don't want to ever touch Menok Cintiq. I want her to be off in the fire plane, safe. Unless, like, we apocalypse the whole world and everything is gone, but, you know, what you gonna do then? But I'm not... Like, doing what you did with Brugar with her, though, I might not be opposed to. Cintiq's the one thing where, like, I go back to, like, restrictions that I put on myself. And I never committed to her being evil the way I maybe should have. And I think part of me always did want to do redemption with her, but it just didn't really happen. World hopping is fun. World hopping is fun too, this is true. So if I did do her, it'd have to start off as a stronger game too. Because I'm not sure, there's certain characters you're comfortable with, like, dropping a certain degree, but there's other times when, like, they need to maintain at least some level of strength, right? But she'd definitely be one where, like, she'd have to come in pretty competent. And I think that would be her, like, kind of taking a tentative step towards that, maybe. As would kind of bleak for character redemption to that degree. This is true. I mean, in general, Donnie's storytelling does not favor that kind of stuff. It could still happen, it's just, you know. But yeah, Ashes to Ashes specifically. That was the reason why we would always say, like, you would settle for the least bad thing. You know, So I pulled adenine earlier, and I already feel like I can feel it. It's like I'm not gonna get the other two now. Like I didn't think so anyways, but I had that like dim hope. But like I think somewhere like once I got to the legendaries, I kind of gave up hope already. But gotta get through these anyways, right? They were kind of the efficient murder squad. This is true, they were very good at their job. I did really like that party, really like that game. Like, there's something really satisfying about like having a squad that's really efficient at that. And while they didn't have like the tightest bonds, I liked a lot of the relationships despite that, or in not despite that, with that in mind too. Cause you know, I love a good found family, and D&D built itself towards that by part of the nature of the game. There's nothing wrong with not always being a pure like found family though. And I say that despite the fact that I'd be like, part of me is like, but I would also wall top Cintiq to give her a chance at that. But that's as much too because a lot of Cintiq's character in Mena came about by the fact that like Dust to Dust was in many ways like she got a shot at a found family and they all died a lot at her hands after they became corrupted. Which, you know, might fuck someone up a little bit in the head, just a little bit. There's a bunch of characters I didn't get to play much of I could bring back, but for the same reason I never got much of a chance to get attached to them, so I don't feel the need to. I mean, I can get that too. Like, sometimes you make them and you're like, this is fine, but at the same time I don't feel... Well, look at that, Katie. She's not my last blade. Hey, Cosmos. Well, I did get two this night. Also, wow. I'm looking at those stats already. And, like, she has low auto attack, but 20% physical and ether defense already. She's a tough attack blade. Fugo was the exception because retirement was forced him and I hated that. Oh, I could definitely get that too. Like the sense that like this character you love, you lose them early. Hey, Cosmos. Well, might as well. Buy 5 more. I already feel like I got it, so here, Morag. You can do these last 5. Bring Cross back. Yay, Cosmos. Chris Cross will make you jump. I mean, part of the thing with bringing Cross back, too... And yeah, I just got the one blade. There's always that hesitancy with certain games, too, like, because even though I feel like Darkhold is well and truly done, I would feel really bad if I ever brought back Cross and then the stars aligned and we did go back to Darkhold. But yeah, 2 rare blades. We got 2 rare blades. I only have 1 more. And it was in that final bit too, which is great because I was... See, I've always mentioned this because we make fun of my jinxing powers, which only work like a third the time. But it really is the case where, like, genuinely, they mostly work, like, 90% of the time when we joke that they work, and it's always coincidence. But when they do, it's because genuinely I don't mean to. Like, anytime... And obviously you probably have a hard time telling because you're not me, you don't see it in my head. But like if I'm trying to like make use of it, it doesn't work most of the time. But the other times it works, those 30% of the times, it's usually genuinely like 99.5% of the time, which I know is just, I'm changing all these numbers, is when, alright, why am I saving? It saves when you do that. Okay, anyways, what is, no. Sorry, distracted now. There's gotta be a better way of doing this, but whatever. Oh man, I haven't played Boom Factory 5 in ages. But yeah, I just have to, like, I legitimately didn't think I was gonna get one of the other two. And then it happened. Okay. Events theater. Create blade. Adney is up here. Okay.
I'm Adney. I aim to fulfill my intellectual needs through mediums other than books. Time to travel the great wide world and stimulate the synapses.
That's fun. And we did a Jin, and then I need to do Cosmos. Man. I know it's because she's established, but whew, that's still a lot. Hi, I'm a reference.
Cosmos. Obey strategical multiple operation systems.
Well, I never knew what that stood for, so thank
All
you.
systems operational. Are you my master?
Yeah, I like Poppy more. But no. Alright. So there we go. The voice is so weird to you, but otherwise. Yeah, I mean, they're only gonna do so much, right? You know, I think when I started Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I had an idea that once I finished, I would do the Torna the Golden Country DLC. I can almost definitively say the K in Cosmos stands for Cosmos. You know, sometimes you gotta be that way. But yeah, I somehow feel like I'm gonna be done forever with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 when I get to the end of it, you know? Isn't that right, Cynthia? What do you think? Why is your name spelled badly and not like Cynthia? Hello, friend. I don't like the war. It doesn't make any sense. It just makes everybody be horrible to everyone else. Grandma says there's nothing better than a world at peace. I wish grown-ups would just stop fighting. Thank you, small child. Your insight was very helpful. You lose? Oh man. You're level 1. Prepare to get destroyed. Nice. But yeah, I guess I could force seconds. So, part of the thing I did, because I didn't do too much, but I was doing a little things to grind all those cores. I might as well should show it off, right? So first, let's, Blessed Sword, no. Let's use one of my 99 gold chips to get back to a Snare Sword. I could just switch to Pyro, but why not? I can waste stuff. Let's put Rock back on. Let's put Agate on. You'll notice my luck is dropping, but they also have gold chips on. And, in point of fact, so does Poppy Cutie Pie, Poppy Cutie, Poppy Alpha, Dromerk, Ursula, and Nim. Because, you know, sometimes when you're going to grind, you just have to put everything in so you have that. So then, okay, what do you do here? So, a good place for it. No former WV GCW champion Cosmos was in this series. Hey, Earth. She's the rarest blade. She has the lowest base rate. Which is why usually you pull her last. I got her second to last. You've also got me near the very end of this Gacha stream, but let's see. I need to go to head? Yes. So then you come here to Cataracts of Ruja. So I had that like Titan Scholar quest, which I went and turned in the other day, where it was little Nopon who had his missing teacher. He was talking about, oh, the stomach was closed. Ah, it was bad. But hey, 240 pools? I got 2 out of the 3 last things I needed. So this is the area you come to that he wanted to get to, and the stomach was closed off because there were extra ones of these around. So then you come into here, and this is kind of an annoying place to have this fight, but you know, what you gonna do, right? This is the name tombstone for Vampire Bride Marion. So like what you do is you go, you wait around here, you hang out. So then here it is, it's just a big one of these things. Oh, I've made a mistake. I made a mistake. Now you know what, I'm gonna fix this. I don't have the right gear on. How can I show off how I was grinding for the cores if I don't have this on here? So, Rex. Accessories. I'm gonna leave the luck one on here, but chronological? Yeah, this is fine. Overclocking Bangle. Showing cooldown time relative to the number of arts ready after a blade switch. This is just convenient to have. And if I look at Torah, I have reduces enemy break resist, a beta scope, which also Nia has. Because the trick to grinding these things off the bosses is you could beat them. And I can beat that thing in like 2 to 3 minutes now, which is not weird. I have over 20 levels on it. Even with the ridiculous HP pools some unique monsters have. It's not too much to work through. But I need to bring it back again. The real trick is I have this grinding set of items on here, but so there's a thing called driver's combos, right? Where you need to break, topple, launch, and smash. And every time you do, the boss rolls on its item. So this was the grinding I did to get all those. I just kept bringing this thing back to life so I could kill it over and over again and slap items out of it until I had 99 common cores, 99 rare cores, and it was 42 legendary cores. You could probably more optimally do this if you had a way to stack with like who you're using for the other things. But this is just the way I found it. Oh, that was stupid. I'm sure the others have more useful skills. See, there's legendary core crystal. But this was the combo I used. It would make sure I had the right things for topple and smashes, and then using Mytho for this. I do. So I get really frustrated with when you're killing a bunch of these guys because of how much HP they have. But I will say, Xenoblade does have a moment when you know what you're doing, and it feels like you're almost bullying the enemies, which is fun. I should point out, there's a good chance this boss could kill me if I get unlucky, because sometimes they can just do high damage. But it doesn't matter, because it just feels like I'm bullying this poor thing to get items out of it. Like it is a loot pinata to me. Oh man. Confirmed that Crystal is bullying monsters. Look, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Oh, I didn't actually do the thing right. That's fine. And it's dead. So yeah. So if I look at that, come on. Just doing that the one time with this set out gave me 10 commons, 10 rares, and 1 legendary. It's fine. I'm about to wrap up the stream. I just figured since that was the 2 successful gachas were the fruit of that grinding, I'd show off. Now, that was actually more common and rares than one of those will tend to drop, but kind of low on the legendary core crystals. Got some other things from him too, and that's how I got, like, I sold off a bunch of those extra items, which is why I have, between that and the money he drops, I ended up with almost 3 million, when I had a little under 1 million to start. But yeah, so there we go. The whole purpose of this short stream was I'd already done that, and I just wanted to get some more gacha out of the way. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to get 2. It's actually really nice I've gone through that. Welcome, Adenine and Cosmos. I just have 1 more left. But until then, I think I will listen to Katie, drink some water, don't be sick, and then go to sleep. I hope the rest of you don't need to worry about not being sick, and you've been staying hydrated anyways, but regardless that you sleep well. Until then, goodbye for now. Oh, if I get my things together, instead of doing Xenoblade, I might do a Halloween related thing next week. I've been debating about it. I need to find a short horror game I feel like doing. Part of me is almost thinking maybe just do Amnesia again, and this time remember to freaking highlight it so it sticks around. But that's neither here nor there. Bye bye.